episode 17 of The Consistent Creator. And in this video, I'm going to talk about producers, consumers, and investors. Yeah, that's right. Producers, consumers, and investors. The highest level is the investor. The second level is the producer. And then the bottom is the consumer. So we're going to start from the bottom and then work our way up. So consumers, which is what most people are. Now, we all engage in consumption. But the thing about it is that how much consumption do you really engage in? And because consumption is so easy and so relaxed, it's easy for us to spend time, effort, and energy on consumption. Because what? We want to have a good time. What do you hear? YOLO, and tomorrow's not promised, which is not. But I don't feel like that should be a license for us to always just consume, and not to become producers or not to become investors. But producers or investors are the ones that really control the world. That's really how wealth is being, really created and developed and have longevity, is through being a producer and being an investor. But like I said, you need consumption in order for the economy to last. But it's also not really a strong foundation. This is why you have a lot of companies that they just create stuff based on the consumption. That's what we call in marketing, what we call buyer behavior or buyer psychology. They know what you want and they just give you what you want, and you not consciously thinking about the ramifications or the consequences. You just like, hey, this is what I want, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it to them. This is why a lot of times you have these companies, like I said, they create what you want. They don't necessarily give you what you need, but they give you what you want. Because for a lot of people, their wants are have way more emotional intensity than what you need. So they say, okay, well, this is what they want, this is what we're gonna give them. It's like we always say, you feed the hungry fish. If the fish is hungry, you feed him. And then that's exactly what goes on in consumption. They just feed you. And then you want to be coming on the more track to having more, more gratification in your life. And then you just consume. It goes back to a previous episode that I just did where I talked about, why people go broke. And it's because of consumption. It also goes back to episode 15, episode 16 that I just did, where I was talking about, why lottery winners and entertainers go broke, but also you gotta make money before you manage money. And that's all because of consumption. But a lot of times we overconsume. It all comes back to the one word, insecurity. That's why we consume, We gotta really show people that we're winning instead of being quiet and actually winning. But it's not enough just to do the work and to let the results speak for themselves. No, we gotta show people because it is pride and because it is ego. But consumers are the ones that's usually miserable in their later years. They had a great time in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. But around the 50-year mark, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, they did way too much consumption. Now they have regret. But that's because they wasn't thinking about the future. Most people don't think about the future. Because they're like, how am I going to enjoy the future when I can enjoy it right now? And the dichotomy is that you want to try to enjoy both. In the sense that you want to enjoy the present so that you experience the present, but you also want to plan for the future because there's a higher probability that the future is coming. It's called tomorrow, in which tomorrow becomes today. But, like I said, we get caught up on this consumption trip. Oh, I gotta have the latest iPhone. I gotta drive the latest car. I gotta live in the best neighborhood. We get so caught up on these things. Materialistic stuff. and just consume, consume, consume. Meanwhile, the producers are laughing. They secretly laughing to the bank. Why? Because they produce this stuff. I feel like you should, between the consumption and production level, it should be 2 to 1. So for every 1 time that you consume, you should have twice as much productivity. That's what you should be doing. That's exactly how it should. Keyword, that's my recommendation. Does it go that way? No. Usually the other way around. It's usually people consume twice as much as more as they produce. Then they want to know why they have a deficiency. But yeah, the producers are the ones that are providing these products and these services. And they glad that these people are so easy to please. And that's the thing. Consumers are easy to please. They some of the easiest people to please on the planet. But that's also too because people have low standards. It don't take much to get them intrigued. It don't take much to light them up like a Christmas tree. You know? Instead of taking a generator to light your tree, all you gotta do is just step into the sun. And then boom, you already lit. They like, oh, we got another tree lit. It's time to get to work. And producers understand the importance of production. They know that's really how the world works. Being a producer. But the real game, the ultimate game, the highest level is you want to be an investor. You want to invest in the producers that provide the products and services to the consumers. That's really what the real wealth and the real game is at the investor level. But most consumers will never get to be into the investor level. It's because they consume. But if they spent more time producing instead of consuming, they will have the financial resources to become investors. And that's, like I said, that's the ultimate goal. Is you want to be an investor. You want to provide the capital. You want to provide the financial resources so the producer can do what they need to do. And provide that pleasure to the consumers. Hollywood is a perfect example of that. Hollywood get their money from or financing independent feature films or movies or anything like that. They get it from a financier, which is usually known as an executive producer. Either the executive producer finance it themselves, or they know the financiers that will finance it. So, for example, like a huge Marvel movie, you know, the reason why those keep getting greenlit is because of the consumers. People are looking to consume that content at a very high level. So what do? Disney, as a studio, because a lot of times they don't put up their own money. It's leverage money. But when you understand debt and leverage finance, you're able to do these things. You're able to pull this stuff off. But you definitely need experience when it comes to that. But yeah, what happened? They want to make this, a $200 million movie. So this is what they do. They go to a financier and says, okay, hey, the financier, this is also where they get strategic in writing stuff off. But Disney just don't make this. I got an episode coming up on IP, but this is what Disney just don't make the money on the movies. The movies is it's just one part of it. Where they make their real money is in IP and the ancillary products. So this is what they do. So let's say, for example, they got a new Avengers movie coming out, right? So they're gonna get $1 billion, right? They're gonna get $1 billion credit line. So they're gonna spend $200 million to pay all the actors and the staff and everything else. Then they're gonna spend another $400 million to market it. So that means that it shows up everywhere. Everywhere you see it, it's gonna show up everywhere. So you can't escape it. To program you to, hey, I gotta go see this new Avengers movie. So what happens? They just spent $600 million to make this one movie, right? 600 million to make this one movie. Everybody goes out and they make the movie, right? So then, once they go out and make the movie, let's say, for example, it grosses, I don't know, let's say it grosses, let's say it grosses $1.3 billion, right? So they paid it the $600 million. They paid the financiers the $600 million, right? Then they probably may even pay the financier another $100 to $200 million in good faith, so that they can go back to them at a later date. So now you got $500 million left over. Then you also have to split the money with the theaters that took in all this revenue. So let's say you took in half, right? Okay, cool. So you took in half. So now your net is what? 400? No, well, it's now 200. Let's just say 200 to $300 million. That's what you as Disney get to keep. So you may say, well, why would they do that? But here's the thing. So you may say, we made a $600 million movie to only make $200 million. That don't make no sense. No, it's smart. Why? Because of taxes. This is what creative accounting comes in at. They can make a profit while still showing the IRS that they didn't really make no money. That they can show losses because they're not really concerned about making money on the actual premiere of the movie. They're going to make money in all the ancillary. This is why IP is so important. So on all the t-shirts, the video games, everything else that's associated with that movie, that's where they're going to make the money at. They're going to make up for that because they actually own the IP. They can make $1 billion when it comes to the t-shirts. They can make $1 billion when it comes to the video game. They can make another $1 billion when it comes to all the other merchandise, such as hats, mugs, book bags, and everything else they decide to slap this IP on. So they don't mind, like I said, on paper, showing that they had a loss of $200 million, but they're going to make another $3 million on the back end. But see, that's at the investor level. That's where the real money is being made at. Not at the consumer level. Now, like I said, you can still do well for yourself as a producer if you manage your money properly at the production level, and you able to invest your money in something. Now, it may not be to that much of a scale, but you can do very well for yourself. So there's nothing wrong with consuming, but you want to keep a cap on that. And most people don't have caps on their consumption. They leave it wide open. Then they want to know why at the end of the day or at the end of their life they broke. And then this is why each generation has to start over. Because the generations prior to that was just a bunch of consumers. Which, that's what I thought it was all about, consumption too, until, like I said, when I got my first corporate job and I had a paradigm shift where, some of my new co-workers, I found out that they were getting trained about money. They was getting trained about production and becoming investors way prior to I was. They were telling me they were learning this stuff, from the time they can talk, 5, 10 years old. I'm 17 just learning this stuff. But I'm glad I figured it out at 17 and, not later on in my life. So that's just my analysis on being a consumer, being a producer, and being an investor. Please leave your thoughts, comments, concerns in the bottom. I look forward to continuing the discussion. Send it out.